Hey, what's up, everybody? This is Charles Tabansi. I want to welcome you guys to another episode of the Dreamerspro Show, where we cover everything from sports, hot topics, classic debates, entertainment, and we give you guys a fresh perspective on things and how we see them. And today we got a very, very interesting show for you guys. But before we get into it, please make sure you like the video and subscribe to the channel. Now, today we are going to be discussing your man's Stephen A. Smith. Now, for those of you who have been following the channel for at least the last, let me say, 6 months to a year, you will know how I feel about Stephen A. Smith. I've always said that Stephen A. Smith is obviously very talented. He is the undoubted face of ESPN. He has one of the biggest shows out there. He's good at what he does. He's very talented. He knows his stuff. However, Stephen A. Smith is what some would consider a grimy dude. I think he's a grimy dude. I think Stephen A. Smith has this very arrogant attitude that he always likes to display. He acts like as if he's on the Forbes 400. If you hear him talk, you would think Stephen A. Smith is Michael Jordan the way you hear him talk. You would think the guy makes $125 million every year with the way he carries himself. And it's just something that kind of turns people off. The other thing I've noticed that he does, and I've been saying it in some of the shows here, especially with some of the shows pertaining to the news that came out about Max Kellerman, maybe, about 2 weeks ago. Stephen A. Smith has this habit of, and I've been saying it, he has this habit of right before he's about to flame somebody and say some really grimy things about them, he'll start off by saying nice things. Oh, I think he's one of the greatest players of all time. He's a top player in history. He's super talented. But he'll say all of these things just to get it out of the way, like his qualifiers, to say, well, I said nice things about you, and then totally disrespect. That's his way. I've always said that. He'll say he's this, he's that, he's this. We all know he's a champion. We all know this. 5-time NBA champ, blah, blah. And then the minute he gets all that out the way, he'll start saying some grimy stuff. And I'm like, yo, it's like the person that says no offense and that says something incredibly disrespectful. Whenever somebody says no offense, they're going to say something very, very offensive. And that's something I'm like, yo, if you really feel a way about this person, stop with all of the niceties and saying all of the, just go straight to the point. Just be real about how you really, really feel. That's what I've always said about him. And I didn't like the way he was talking to Max Kellerman and treating him recently. That's a grimy, like what he did is something a grimy dude would do. Max Kellerman, as we speak, is currently unemployed, and you find yourself on the Joe Budden podcast talking greasy about this dude, how he didn't have the qualification, all of these different things, and people are sitting there looking at him like, yo, why are you doing this? Why are you doing this? Like, who sent you to do all of this work that you're doing? So, yesterday, I was going through the internet and a video was recommended to me from Vlad TV. And I usually follow Vlad for his NBA content. Sometimes I see some of his Boozy videos because y'all know Boozy's hilarious. But I usually follow him for his NBA videos. So yesterday, a video was recommended to me from his recent sit down, that he had with Lavar Ball. Now, for those of you who may not know, Lavar Ball is the father of Lonzo Ball, LaMelo Ball, who's his two sons who play in the NBA. A number of years ago, he was making a lot of noise. This was before Lonzo Ball made it into the NBA. He was going on a plethora of shows, Undisputed when Shannon Sharpe was still there, ESPN First Take. And he was one of these dads that was just really, 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 really big on promoting his son. Right? He was really big on that. And then in the meantime, in between time, he was also promoting his brand, a Big Baller brand, the Triple B's, right? Big Baller brand. So he was doing that as well. And he has some pretty interesting moments on television. He had the moment when he was on, I think it was on Undisputed, where he said that Lonzo Ball is the best player on the Lakers. And Shannon Sharpe looked at him. He's like, he's better than LeBron. He said, absolutely. And we were all like, man, come on, stop. Right? Like, so he does that. And he was doing that recently. So yesterday, I came across this clip. And in the the title, it says, LaVar Ball goes at Charles Barkley, Stephen A. Smith, and other people. So I click on the video to hear what he had to say because I was very interested to hear what he had to say about these people. And as I clicked on it and he started to talk about Stephen A. Smith, he was talking to Vlad, everything, I don't know if it's like he saw our show, but everything he was saying about Stephen A. Smith was the exact things I was complaining about on this channel. So what we want to do is want to play what Lavar Ball had to say about Stephen A. Smith, and then we're going to come back and continue on the show. Take a listen to what he had to say here.
Around this time, he made a comment. He said, back in my heyday, I would kill Michael Jordan one-on-one.
Easy. Too fast, too strong. There's nothing he could do. He weighing 210 pounds. I'm weighing 270 and can jump fast. I'm just going to bag him in, push him off his feet. He's like a little baby to me. And give him a jump hook because I was skilled with either hand to do a jump hook. That's all. You can't block no jump hooks.
Well, you went on First Take. You and Stephen A. Smith went at it over this comment.
I call him the Rudy Poo. Man, I call Stephen A. Smith a $3 bill because he faking and I don't know what. That's why I call him the $3 bill. People think I like him. I don't like him. He think I like him. I'll be like, no. But you want to talk crazy. This is my thing. He talks crazy, but then I like the father. No, you don't. You talk bad about my sons. You talk bad about me. And then with all due respect, I like him. No, don't say nothing crazy and then try to backpedal.
Yeah, I don't like Stephen A. Smith either.
No, I don't
the
like
first
this boy
time
at all.
I actually met him, it was at a Jordan party in L.A. We were waiting in line for the bus to take us back. Michael Jordan walked by. He was, waved to him and everything else like that. And I turned around, I'm like, oh, Stephen A. Smith. I'm like, oh, yeah, we cover you a lot on Vlad TV. You know what he said? Everybody does.
See, yeah.
Just a
like,
straight
man,
There's an answer. Like, well, not everyone has 100 million subscribers.
He's faker than a $3 bill. His biggest thing was with me on there. Nobody remembers him saying nothing but me and him going in. And they would have me more to come on there and be like, yo, but I'm not going to help him no more. Nah, I don't even want to go on your show no more. I don't want to do nothing. You go ahead and do your thing.
Yeah.
And you conform and you're going to do whatever. But, hey, you're the last one. At some point, they'll fire you. Because a lot of folks who talk that trash about me, like I told them, you employees. From Jason Whitlock to Jeff Goodman to all these guys that was on ESPN, everybody who came at me, you ain't there no more.
Charles Barkley said, I just don't like the guy at all.
Yeah.
Speaking about you.
And here's the thing, I don't like him at all.
So you heard what Lavar Ball had to say there. Now I want to take my time with this. I want to take my time and I don't want to rush. If you listen very carefully to that soundbite, the two people discussing Stephen A. Smith said what about him? Lavar was saying that Stephen A. Smith is fake. He was saying that he's somebody that likes to pretend like he likes a person and says nice things about him, and then immediately trashes them afterwards. He said, if that's the way you really feel, spare me with all of these niceties and keep it 100 with me. But don't spit in my face and tell me that it's raining. That was one of the things that he said. Another thing is, if you were paying attention, is what Vlad said about his encounter with Stephen A. Smith, where he was at a Jordan party and he introduced himself. He said, hey, you're Stephen A. Smith. Everybody know. And he goes, we cover you sometimes on our show. And then Stephen A. Smith turns around and says, well, of course, everybody does. That response right there is a typical Stephen A. Smith response. A total clownish response. That's what a clown does. And I'll tell you why. I mentioned this maybe about a month or so ago on this channel. I'm going to mention it to you again. Stephen A. Smith is one of the most arrogant people I've ever seen, ever. His arrogance knows no bounds. Like, it's unbelievable. And I don't understand why he can't be a little bit more graceful about his position. Stephen A. Smith is more arrogant than LeBron James. Like, he talks more bleep than LeBron. Like, think about that for a second. Think about that. I want to give you guys a quick story here. About, let me say, 2 months ago, I went to, what was it? I think it was my birthday or something like that. I went to go, no, it was during our break. We were on a break in August. And we went on break and went to this hotel here. And I was like, okay, I'll spend 2 days with my wife and just kind of relax or whatever. Now, this hotel is, the chairman of this hotel is Tony Alumalu, right? One of the richest businessmen in the world. If you don't know him, Google him. He's a billionaire. Now, although currencies fluctuate, but he's a billionaire. And he's the chairman, I think chairman and CEO of UBA Bank, Transcorp, Hilton, and all of this. So I follow him on Instagram. So I was like, man, I would like to meet this guy. I would like to meet this guy. I like to meet this guy, right? And I told my wife, I'm like, I bet you I'm going to meet him this weekend. I bet you I'm going to meet him this weekend. So me and my wife get into a fight. So I'm like, you know what? I'm going to just go downstairs and have dinner by myself and just be on my phone or whatever. So I'm sitting there and as I'm eating, who walks in? I see like the general manager of the restaurant or whatever, the manager of the restaurant, she's just like moving around really quick. I don't know what the hell is going on here. And usually when you see something like that, you know an important person is coming. Then next thing you know, I see the man's wife pass, Tony Alumilu's wife. And next thing you know, I see him pass. I'm like, what the hell is going on here? So I'm sitting there and I'm like, oh my God, like this is the guy, right? This guy's like, this is him. This guy's a billionaire. This is the guy I'm always watching. So I build up the courage to, while he was waiting to get some food or whatever it was, I go up to him and I'm like, hey, sir, it's nice to meet you. My name is so-and-so. I follow you all the time and this and this and this. He was a very pleasant man. He was like, oh, well, thank you. And I was like, if you don't mind, please, would you mind taking a picture with me? And he goes, sure, absolutely. So we take a selfie. I'm cheesing like you won't believe. And then he goes, so what do you do? And I tell him what I do. He was like, okay. Then he gestures. He's like, just come with me over here. And I'm like, I looked at the guy. I'm like, he must be talking to somebody else over there. And I go over there to him and he goes, he's sitting down to get ready to sit down with his wife and eat. He goes to his assistant. He goes, give him my email. And I'm like, okay, is this happening? So as I'm collecting his email, I'm looking at the assistant. I say to the assistant, I said, is this really happening? The assistant looks at me and says, yes, it's really happening. So I exchange his email, whatever. I say all of that to say this. Why am I bringing up the story? Here you have somebody that's a billionaire, but was humble enough to greet people and humble himself to be like a normal person and just talk to you on a normal level. Had that been Stephen A. Smith and he was a billionaire, Stephen A. Smith would probably have security standing with him at a buffet line to make sure nobody even bumps into him. That's the type of, in my view, the day I lost respect for him, I don't care if he sees this video, I really don't give a, you know what, I don't care. I don't need people like this. I don't need dudes like that. I'm sorry. But the day I lost respect for him is when he was disrespecting Shohei Ohtani and those Nigerian players. That's when I lost total respect for him, doing it on purpose. And had he not been forced to apologize, he wouldn't have apologized. That's when I know I said, okay, I can't rock with this dude. So to hear Lavar Ball say this, to hear Terrell Owens say that this dude is fake. He's like, stop saying nice things about me before you trash me. Bro, at a certain point, you gotta look in the mirror. It ain't everybody. It ain't everybody. If Stephen A. Smith releases a report, and one of the reasons he could possibly, I'm talking about Lavar Ball, could possibly have a beef with Stephen A. Smith. If you guys remember, about a month or so ago, Stephen A. Smith went on ESPN First Take and said about Lonzo Ball, according to his sources, he can barely stand up out of a chair. That's what he said. He said he could barely stand up out of a chair. Lonzo Ball hears that. He produces a quick video of him standing up and sitting down on one leg. And he goes, Stephen A. Smith, I like you, man, but where are you getting your sources from? That's all he said. The very next day, Stephen A. Smith goes on ESPN First Take, tells the dude, what do you think you're doing? Just close your mouth. Then he goes on his podcast and threatens to now release private information about where he got his surgery, the day he got his surgery, the name of the doctor that gave him his surgery. And I'm like, yo, who does this? Who does this? And then at the very beginning of that, Lonzo Ball is a really great player. He's really, really talented. He's this and this and this. And then right after that goes out there and trashes them. The very same thing he did with Terrell Owens. Terrell Owens is one of the best wide receivers in NFL history. He's a great player, talented, blah, 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 blah. Now, let me pull up a file of all of his cases for you. Terrell Owens did this. He had this incident. He had that incident. Now, I would never go into the details, but he had all of these incidents. It's like, why are you doing this? So for LeVar Ball to come out and say that dude is fake, and I met him and he's fake, it's you. You're the common denominator. It ain't all these people. It's not Kevin Durant. It's not Lonzo Ball. It's not Terrell Owens. It's not, I think, Kenyon Martin at one point. It's not LeVar Ball. It's not, you're the common denominator. Look how you were trashing your former partner, Max. You trashed the guy so bad that even his former partner, Marcellus Wiley, had to say, bro, what are you doing? Why are you doing all of this? So I love it. I love it. It's like, dude, we know you a grimy dude. We know this. Just own it. Stop with the, oh, he's talented and he's this and he's that. Just say what you think and then leave it at that so people will know exactly where you stand. And I've always said it about Stephen A. Smith, and I'm going to say it here. We're talking sports. None of us are kingpins. None of us are running down on nobody. None of us here are putting our goon down on it. None of us are doing that. Let's stop with the John Gotti talk and all of this other talk. We're not doing that under any circumstances. Now, whether you know somebody that's live and that's everybody knows somebody that's live. But let's stop with the, yo, you better stop and shut up. Like, come on, stop. I'm dead serious. And Kurt, like, yo, cut it out. We talking sports. Like, we talking sports. None of us are going to spin a block on nobody. Let's stop. Let's stop. We can twist your face and all, like, come on, stop. So these are my thoughts, and that's what Lavar Ball had to say, and I'm with him 100%. Although, LeVar, you tripping on those, you're going to beat Michael Jordan, but I feel you, and I respect you supporting your son. I mean, it shows the deep love that you have for your kids, which is admirable. But he was 100% right on Stephen A. Smith. I think most people see this. So these are my thoughts. What I want to know from you guys, what do you think about what LeVar had to say? What do you think about what I had to say? Whatever you guys think, leave your thoughts in the comments. We catch you on the next show. Peace.